troubling report on the growing problem of medical ID theft. Hackers are going after your medical records. In fact, according to one report, the health industry is the #1 focus of hackers, more than any other sector. Let's bring in Morgan Wright, cybersecurity analyst. Morgan, this was really surprising. I mean, you think, okay, shopping online, retail, we've heard about the big breaches at Target, for example. Why are medical records the focus of hackers?
Because, Jenna, they are the goose, they are the golden eggs that the goose has laid, whereas your records, your credit, and you know what? The market drives this. When you go onto these black market sites to buy records, credit card records sell for 50 cents to $1 a record. Medical records sell for $10 to $50 a record because it has your name, your date of birth, your address, your social security number, physical descriptors, even credit card data. So these have become the one place where the most information about you is usually collected. You don't get medical information, date of birth on your credit card information, but you get all of that in your health record. So that's why they're targeting it.
You know, in preparing for this segment, it's not even just about the hacking, going into a system and infiltrating it and getting your information. Apparently, medical professionals are carrying around our data in little thumb drives, and that's just, people are able to steal that. Morgan,
yes.
What can consumers do if we're not only vulnerable online, but we have people carrying around our information and we don't even know that they're doing that?
Well, look, Albert Einstein said one time there's only two things that are infinite, the universe and stupidity, and I'm not sure about the universe. When people are doing stupid things like this, and I do mean they're stupid, you're carrying around on unencrypted thumb drives people's medical information, their histories and stuff. Unfortunately for consumers, they can't do anything till after the fact, which is usually sue. There's some things they can do proactively, which is have good identity theft, have good monitoring, have restoration. But unfortunately, because they have to give that information to get services, there's very little that they can do until after the fact. But what they can do, and you'll see it, there'll be litigation, there'll be lawsuits, there'll probably be legislation. That's what happens after the fact. That's what consumers do when they're wrong. But preventing it beforehand becomes tough.
We were talking to an identity theft expert a few months ago who reminded us that we really don't have to give our social security number to our doctor, which I thought was interesting. It's a good reminder on that.
Right.
What about paying for those services that are supposed to be watching your identity, Morgan? Do you think that's worth the value? Is that valuable to a consumer?
It is, and it depends on what you do. Look, I mean, I've got identity insurance through Kroll and through Legal Shield, and because it has restoration, it's not just monitoring, because you have to monitor more than your credit cards, which is only about 17% of it. It's your medical identity theft, it's your bank accounts, your passport, all of these different things. So if you put a robust plan in place, you at least have some defenses against that. But unfortunately, you know, look, one of the things before I always come on air, you know, I always want to do some research. A couple days ago, Symantec released a big report called the Internet Security Threat Report. Healthcare attacks were up 25%. To your saying, targeted more than any other industry. That's what forms the basis for a lot of this identity theft going on, because the more breaches there are of all this kind of information, it only means that right now, 1 out of every 2 seconds, somebody becomes a victim of identity theft. That means this year, Jenna, 1 out of every 18 to 20 people in the U.S. will become a victim, and a lot of that will become from the 99 million records that have been breached so far this year that are all medical records.
When it comes to the medical records, not only are birth dates, social security numbers, but also just the content of it, Morgan.
Yes.
Is that valuable to hackers?
Absolutely.
And how so?
Because a lot of times people want to get services, so they want to get medical services. So the more that they know about you, one lady that I know that lives not too far from me, when her husband died unexpectedly, they found out that his identity was used 10 times to go to local area hospitals to receive services, and he had to have more information than just a name and a date of birth. So this actually creates identity theft because it takes longer, and medical identity theft because it takes longer to investigate, it's harder to detect, and those services cost you far more than a $200 pair of shoes.
It always makes me nervous to talk to you, Morgan. I always enjoy
it. Sorry,
but the topics, they're really unnerving, and it's important that we just kind of raise awareness, if you will, that this is actually happening. Great to have you, Morgan. We look forward to having you back. Thank you.
You bet, Jenna. Talk to you later.
Scary stuff. Individual rights or public health.